Hello, is the audio working now? Hello, is the audio working now? Can you guys hear me? Okay, we're good now. Okay, yeah, sorry about that. The microphone wasn't set on OBS. Um, but we're good now. Hello, Kaiwan. Hello, Christine. Hello, Sky Blue Park Bench. Hello, Ruben, Estaboy, Al J, MK, Joey Hendricks, Jason O, K Train Studios, Reed, Porto Shilove. Hello, everyone. We're going to be doing some rankings today on this Sunday. So, yeah, excited to be here. It's been a hot minute, as the kids say, since I've streamed. I think I did one earlier this year, but I don't think I've done one since then. Yeah, welcome. Glad to have you all here. If this is your first live stream of mine, it has been a little while. So, what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be ranking the intros from various television songs or television intros, the song and the whole the whole intro itself. And we're going to be ranking it for all the different television shows that I cover on this channel, and some shows that I haven't covered or I'm not planning on covering, but they kind of fit into the same genre. I'm specifically focusing on what you would call like dramas, probably. Stuff like Sopranos, Wire, Mad Men, all of that stuff. I'm specifically not including comedies on here. So no, It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia or anything like that. I just figured we should try to keep it genre specific, because once I start throwing in like comedies and stuff, there's a whole floodgate of like there's hundreds of sitcoms and other comedies that I could rank. And someone just asked like would I include the Naruto intro in here, and like no anime either. Not gonna throw an anime here. That's a whole separate genre. We could do that another time. But this is specifically mainstream dramas. Now, again, there's gonna be some on this list that's like, for example, The Walking Dead is on this list. I'm not going to cover The Walking Dead on this channel. I'm not going to do anything like that. But it is a well-known show that I've watched, so let's throw the intro on here and rank it anyway. And there's going to be some that probably like you guys are like, why isn't it on the list? Well, there's two reasons. One, if I have not watched it, I can't rank the intro because the intro is so tied to the show. You have to know the show in order to know whether the intro is good or not. So, and some of them I've not seen it, or maybe I just didn't remember to throw it on there. Twilight Zone's a great example. I've seen a couple episodes here and there. I'm not super familiar enough with the show to throw that on there. Like I could have thrown it on there, but it just, that one I didn't throw it on there. There's some other like little shows like K Train just talked about The Terror. I have seen The Terror. I do like that show. It's not on this list right here because it's such a small show. I forgot about it. Law and Order. I also did not include Law and Order, even though it could have fit into here, because if I included Law and Order, then I would have to include like SVU and Criminal Intent, and it would be like 10 different shows. Law and Order LA, and sorry if you can hear my dog running around, but Law and Order LA, like there's too many for Law and Order. If we do like cop procedurals, that can honestly be a whole separate genre, right? We could throw NYPD Blue or Hill Street Blues, or a whole bunch of other shows that I'm not going to include those cop procedurals on this ranking, just to save a little bit of time. So we'll leave those off of there, but we'll get into these rankings here. So hope that makes sense. And also, by the way, in terms of ranking, I am including all 5 seasons of The Wire as separate rankings. The reason I'm doing that is because I had to make a decision when it came to the rankings, and in fact, let's switch over to that view. Give me one sec here. Okay, so you guys can see the rankings here now. You'll notice that I have all 5 seasons of The Wire here as separate intros. That's because in my mind, each of the 5 seasons of The Wire is trying to accomplish different things, is trying to create a different vibe to reflect how different each season is. So that's why I'm including each one separate here. But there's other intros that have some like variations that I'm not going to include every single variation in here. One great example is like Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul is not there. There's like each intro is a little bit different. Like one of them's like his business card in the toilet. One of them's like a cigarette or a matchsticks in like the sink or whatever. They're different intros, but they're not fundamentally trying to be like different experiences. They're all going for the same thing. So that's why I'm not including every single Better Call Saul variation on here, whereas I'm doing the same thing for The Wire. The only other exception to that is True Detective. Again, since it's an anthology show, every season is its own kind of separate little intro, and they're trying to accomplish different things. So I'm going to include each of those as separate entries here. So I hope that makes sense to you guys, and we can go ahead and jump into the rankings, unless anyone has any questions. You're talking just American mainstream dramas. Yeah, it's American, and I mean, I got stuff like Narcos on here too, but that's still an American production. I've not seen a lot of like foreign dramas, so don't expect too many of those on here. And this is a good enough list. I think I've got like 30 title sequences on here, and that'll give us that'll give us a good hour or so of content to work through. So, and again, there's some entries on here where you're going to be like, what the fuck is Walking Dead doing on here? What the fuck is Orange is the New Black doing on here? It's like, I don't know. I just kind of threw together a list of shows that I've actually seen to give it some variety. I didn't want it to just be like Sopranos, Wire, Mad Men. Like, there's other shows that I've watched and I've enjoyed to an extent too. So you got stuff like House, got stuff like Battlestar Galactica. It's there's a variety on here. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into this list here. And they're all kind of organized alphabetically, so we're gonna start just at the top here. We're gonna start with Battlestar Galactica. Now I have a notes listed here of like some information about each of these. So let me pull this up here. So we'll start with Battlestar Galactica. If you guys haven't seen, it is the remake of the original like 1970s sci-fi series. It's a more modern adaptation. I've not seen the original 1970s series, but I'm a huge fan of the reboot, Battlestar Galactica. And in fact, I think they're working on another reboot right now, but we'll see how that one turns out. Now, in particular, I should mention the category, the specifics of what I'm grading these intros on. So in my mind, an intro should accomplish 3 things. It shouldn't be too long. We're going to be talking about the specific length of each of these intros. I don't love long intros like this. 2, it should be a very accurate representation of the show that you're going to get. So it should reflect like what the show is about, both thematically and in terms of like aesthetics of the intro. Whether it's stylized, whether it's whatever, it should reflect what the show's all about. And finally, the music should be good. Like there's going to be a little bit of a subjective quality here of whether I enjoy the intro songs or not. So Battlestar Galactica is about 1 minute and 1 second. Now, there might be some slight variations here and there of like intros. Sometimes intros, depending on the episode, might be a little bit longer, it might be a little shorter, depending on how they mixed it. But these are like general estimates of how long the intro is. So about a minute long, which I a minute is about how long I like an intro. I don't really like it to go longer than that, and we're going to talk about some of these intros here. But a minute is okay. It's not long enough where it starts to get annoying, but it's getting there. I generally like intros to be pretty quick and get out of the way pretty quickly. So the length is not too bad. If you guys have never seen the intro, I'll try to explain it a little bit. It's like it has like two parts to the intro, and I wish I could play it for you guys like on the stream here, but it would get the stream flagged, so wouldn't be a good idea. But there's kind of two sections to the Battlestar Galactica intro, and you can, if you're on the computer, you can pull it up on your second tab or whatever and watch it while I'm talking about this. But the first part is like this kind of choir, like a prayer type thing that shows various images of the human colonists fleeing. Battlestar Galactica is this sci-fi epic about this society in far space that worships the Greek gods, and they're destroyed by robots, and they have to kind of flee. And so the intro has this kind of like chanting, this kind of prayer stuff, because religion and spirituality is a huge part of the thing. And then the second half of the intro transitions into this very like epic, like upbeat kind of vibe. And the interesting thing that the Battlestar Galactica intro does is it actually shows scenes from the episode that's upcoming in the title sequence. So every episode is a little bit different, but it will show like the dramatic moments that are going to happen in the episode. So you kind of get a little bit of a preview. It's actually pretty interesting. I like that. I don't consider it like spoilers or anything. It's like, ooh, look, someone's pointing a gun at someone. I wonder what that's going to be about. So it's kind of a throwback to when shows would have like a little bit of a teaser at the beginning of the episodes. However, the one thing I don't love about the Battlestar Galactica intro is that it doesn't really feel coherent. Like the first part with the chanting and the religious like imagery and stuff like that, it doesn't really feel coherent to like the second half where it gets really dramatic with like the drums and everything. It's a cool intro, but I think it also doesn't feel particularly sci-fi the way the chanting and stuff. It feels, I think they could have done a little bit more to make this feel like, oh, this is epic sci-fi. No, I'm not able to play the intro, Esta Boy. It's gonna, like, this is all copyrighted music. It's going to get the stream flagged. I wish I could do it, but if you want to pop over while I'm doing this and like just watch the intro real quick, go for it. If you're on the computer, if you're on like your phone or whatever watching this, it'll be hard for you to do. But you know, we're just gonna have to deal with it. So overall, Battlestar Galactica is pretty good. I think it could be a lot better, and I'm gonna give it a B. It's pretty middle of the ground for me. And I'm just gonna warn you guys right now, I'm a lot harder on these intros, and I think a lot of you guys will be. If you look up on YouTube any of the intros and read the comments section, all of them are all like, "Oh my god, I love this intro. I never skip it," or whatever. And that's because the only people going out like seeking out the intro on YouTube are like they're super fans of that specific intro. So I will just announce right now that some of the way I'm gonna rank some of these intros, you guys are gonna get pissed off at me. But hey, what's new, right? That's my whole channel. I piss people off with some of my takes on these shows. So yeah, we'll put Battlestar Galactica in the middle of the road at a B. Next one's up, Better Call Saul, but let's do Breaking Bad first. It feels weird to do Better Call Saul first. So Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad's intro is very short. It is 18 seconds long, really short, which I like that. I really do like really short intros because it just gets out of the way very quickly. Like, it's there, you get the credits, but it doesn't insist on you watching like over a minute of footage per episode, which really does add up if you're watching the entire series. We're going to talk about that when we get to The Sopranos. But I like that Breaking Bad's intro is short. It doesn't. There's no reason to skip the Breaking Bad intro. It goes by so quickly that it's pretty good. Another thing that I like is that they use the theme in the episode Granite Slate. So they use this like instrumental version that builds up to the end of Granite Slate, the penultimate episode of the series, and it's really epic. And it's the only time they use it in the show. I really enjoy that aspect of it. I think it works perfectly. The imagery is a little generic, like it's just the Breaking Bad chemistry signs. It's not a huge spectacle like some of these other intros, but I much prefer simplicity to overcomplication. So I'm going to give Breaking Bad an A. I actually really like it. Granite State, you fake fan. Fuck you, King of Antarctica. Did I say Granite Slate? Okay, fine. Granite State. It's obviously playing off the title Granite Slate, or Granite. Okay, fine, whatever. It's the state that the Granite State is whatever state he's in that episode. So, fair enough. Granite State. But anyway, I'm gonna give this episode an A. I think it's really good, or this intro an A. It's really good, and I think it's one of the stronger intros overall. Now let's go to Better Call Saul. Better Call Saul's intro is even shorter than Breaking Bad, which is fantastic. Better Call Saul averages around 13 seconds per intro, which is great. It just zooms by. Obviously, we have to factor in that Better Call Saul is building off of Breaking Bad's success. So it's kind of riding on Breaking Bad's coattails, but it is different. It's a rock intro, whereas Breaking Bad is a little bit more instrumental. I like that the imagery changes each episode. It's always interesting to see like, oh, what are they gonna do? And I also really like how in the final I think maybe 3 or 4 episodes, the sound starts to get distorted, and because the whole intro is like it has like a VHS effect over it, and it's meant to basically represent Saul constantly rewatching his old ads when he's in the Gene timeline. He's constantly reminiscing on his past, which we're watching in Better Call Saul. And as he's playing the tape over and over again, the tape starts to get degraded, and by the end it like cuts out in the final episode. And I really like that effect. I think it's really cool. I think it's very thematic. And that's why we're gonna give Better Call Saul an S. Like the Better Call Saul intro is perfect. It's very short. It accomplishes what it's trying to accomplish, and it's great. I love the Better Call Saul intro. You guys know that I don't. I like Breaking Bad more than Better Call Saul, which I know a lot of you disagree with me on. But I will give Better Call Saul credit here. Its intro is fantastic, perfection almost. So we'll leave it there. Next up is Boardwalk Empire. Now Boardwalk Empire's I'm crossing off the ones I've done already. Boardwalk Empire's intro is 1 minute and 33 seconds long, which is way too long. And we're going to talk about that with some of these other ones here, but a minute 30 is too long for an intro, especially if you're going to watch 5 seasons of the show like back to back, like if you're binge watching it. I really don't like the music of Boardwalk Empire. The intro song. It's called Straight Up and Down by the Brian Jonestown Massacre. Now, no offense to the people who like that song. It's a great song on its own, but I don't think it fits with Boardwalk Empire's style. Boardwalk Empire is a period piece. I don't know why they went for like modern folk music. Like it does it like they should have gone with an old-fashioned song. Like they have some really good old-fashioned music in Boardwalk Empire. I think it would have fit the theme and the tones a lot more. I also don't love the imagery of this intro. It's like it's like this very stylized thing with Nucky standing on the ocean with the bottles of liquor, washing ashore. I don't I don't really think the imagery captures what Boardwalk Empire is about. Like, yes, on the surface, it reflects prohibition and stuff like that, but like thematically, I don't know what the intro's trying to say. It doesn't reflect like kind of the themes of like corruption and stuff that are happening throughout the series. It's just like surface level commentary about prohibition. So I don't like Boardwalk Empire's intro. I'm gonna give it a D. I actually really don't like it. So I apologize. I know there's a lot of Boardwalk Empire fans out there who really love the show. It's one of my lesser. I don't enjoy Boardwalk Empire as much as I do. It's not even on my top 10 list. Like it's a little bit lower for me. It's an okay show, but I don't enjoy the intro that much. So we'll leave that there. And next up we have Deadwood, which I just covered in a little mini retrospective I did. Only 7,000 people have watched that. So if you're one of the people in this stream who has not watched that retrospective, go check it out. But I understand it. Deadwood is not as popular a show as something like The Sopranos. The intro is a minute 30, which is a little bit long. I will admit the intro is a little bit long for my taste, but the music, it makes it just fly by. Like, I never skip the Deadwood ending. There's some other shows whose intros I skip, who you guys are going to be pissed off when I tell you that I skip them. I'm just warning you that's coming. But the Deadwood intro just flies by for me. I always enjoy watching it. The music is perfect. It's like, a lot of shows have this problem where the intro music is way too dark or it's way too upbeat. But the Deadwood intro is a great balance between the two. It's upbeat, but it's not too upbeat. But it has this little bit of a dark tone to it. And Deadwood is not like a super dark show. Like, yes, there's a lot of dark moments, but also there's a lot of like joy and happiness in the show. And I think the intro really reflects this. I enjoy it a lot. The imagery perfectly encapsulates the community of Deadwood. There's just a lot of great stuff in there. There's a woman with big tits taking a bath. For those of you who like that part, you guys who are fans of this intro know what I'm talking about. But I think the Deadwood intro is fantastic. I don't know if I can quite give it an S just because it's a little bit long, even though it doesn't feel that way to me. Deadwood's also a shorter series, so it's not that big a deal to watch it all. I mean, you're only talking about, well, you're still talking over an hour of time you're wasting doing this, but I'm gonna give it an A. I really like the Deadwood intro. I think it accomplishes everything it needs to accomplish, and it's very enjoyable. So, we'll give it an A here. Maybe it should be a B just because it's a little bit long, but I just enjoy it so much that I'm gonna give it an A. Next up, we have Dexter. Dexter's a surprisingly popular show for a show I actually don't consider to be that good, but it's an enjoyable show. I will give it that. Dexter's intro is 1 minute and 40 seconds long, which is really, really long, and it does feel long when you watch it. It has this. Okay, so if you've never seen Dexter, it's about a serial killer who only kills other serial killers. It's such a stupid premise, but Dexter's like this fun show. It's like very corny and obnoxious at times, but it's very likable. And I feel the same way about the intro. Like, the intro is corny because it has a lot of imagery where you're like, oh, you see blood dripping, you're thinking he's killing someone, but then it turns out he's just making breakfast. He's cutting an orange, he's frying some bacon, he's getting dressed in the morning, and it has this very upbeat kind of pop tune to it. And it's so corny. It's like you get the joke very quickly. You're like, oh, haha, I get it. It's like you thought he was killing someone, but he's just making breakfast, and they keep repeating it over and over again, and it's super on the nose. But I think that really accurately reflects Dexter. Like, I think that the intro is obnoxious because the rest of the series is obnoxious. but it's still kind of likable, just like the whole series is. Like, Dexter's not great television, like it just straight up is not, but it's fun, like a guilty pleasure show that I enjoy watching. So um I think that accurately reflects it. And normally I would probably give it a C because it's super long and corny, but I'm gonna give it a B actually. I think it works for what Dexter is. So we're gonna give it a B here. Dexter is a funny show, honestly. It's corny and cheesy at times, but it just, there's something about Dexter that just works. Like it's like junk food. It just satisfies that itch if you have that itch. Now we get onto a big one here. Game of Thrones. Whoo boy, this is a huge one. So Game of Thrones is let me pull it up here. Where the fuck is it? A minute 45, which is very long. A minute 45 is very fucking long. However, like, can you honestly name an intro that's more iconic than the Game of Thrones intro? Can you name an intro that's more famous, that more people will know of here? Even if you're not a huge fan of the show, you've heard the intro. It's been parodied by Simpsons, South Park, Family Guy. Like, it is so fucking iconic. It was obviously everyone knows this, but it was created by Ramin Djawadi, I think that's how you pronounce his name, who's become a super famous composer because of this intro. Like, now he's on the level of like Hans Zimmerman because of how iconic his intro is. And I love the imagery of like the little castles and stuff, the little toy castles that are being made with like the gears and everything. Because one, it's cool that in each episode it's a little bit different because they only show you the locations that are going to be featured in that episode. But also it highlights thematically how pointless a lot of the conflict of Game of Thrones is. It's like we're looking at it from the sky and we see that, like, oh, these are just like toy soldiers fighting over nothing, which is a big theme of the series. So as much as I hate how long it is, and I do skip the intro sometimes, I'm not gonna say I never skip the intro. It's got to be an S. Like, it just has to be. It's too iconic, too powerful, too culturally relevant to not be an S tier. Even, I'm not saying it's a perfect intro for me. I wish it was a little bit shorter and stuff like that, but it just works for the show so perfectly. There's just no other rank I can give it. So I know that's gonna piss some of you off, but it's got to go there for me. Not a lot of you guys have seen this, but I did a Game of Thrones video back in the day. You can look up on my channel Game of Thrones video, but I made my own little custom intro. It's called Game of Kino on here, and it's a cool thing. So I'm gonna put it on there. And following that, we have House of the Dragon, which uses the same exact music. It's obviously coasting off of Game of Thrones' coattails on that regard. But I do think that even though it's very similar to Game of Thrones, it works in its own way. It's updated a little bit. Instead of featuring a bunch of locations, because House of the Dragon takes place primarily in one location, King's Landing, and sometimes like Dragonstone and some other places. Instead, it features imagery of like Viserys has these little like toy castles and stuff like that. And I think it works really well because, again, House of Dragon focuses so much on the Targaryens specifically. It works as an update, but that's still paying homage to the iconic Game of Thrones show. But we can't give it as high just because it's coasting off the same coattails. I'm debating on whether to give it. I think I'm gonna probably give it a B. I think it works well, but again, it's just copying so much from Game of Thrones. It's hard to stand on its own here. I do think it's an appropriate update, but I'm gonna give it a B. It's not as original as the original Game of Thrones intro. So I'm gonna give it a B there for copying, basically. So I do think House of Dragon is a better show than Game of Thrones, um, but or at least the first season so far. But yeah, the intro is coasting too much off Game of Thrones coattails to give it any more than a B. So next up, we have House MD. Now, this is one of my favorite shows of all time. I love House MD. I know I'm not covered it on this channel or whatever, but I love House. It's a great for being a procedural on a mainstream network. It is as good as that genre can do. I think the character work is fantastic. I think the plots are very interesting, and I think it works really well. House is where is this? 33 seconds long, which is very short. Now, it actually feels a little bit longer to me when I'm watching it. I thought it was at least a minute long, but it actually, in hindsight, it goes by very quickly. The intro song is Massive Attack, which, by the way, any Assassin's Creed fans, for the original Assassin's Creed way back in the day, do you guys remember that they used the Massive Attack intro or Massive Attack song in one of the original Assassin's Creed trailers? I know that just because I'm a huge fan of House, and I was like, oh, it's a song from House. It shows a lot of body, body parts like bones and organs and stuff like that. I think it works really well. An interesting fact, you'll notice that the actors are given, their proper place in the intro, right? It's like it shows the actors' names that star in the series. Even when they updated the cast, they never went back and updated the names. So even when Chase and Cameron and Foreman had left the series, they were still being billed in the intro sequence, which I thought was an interesting detail. But I think House's theme works really well. It's not that impressive overall. It's not like one of those intros where you're like, oh my god, it's so fucking impressive or whatever. But it works, and so I'm gonna give it a B here. I think it's a good intro. It's not obnoxious or anything. I think it reflects the series, but it's not the most grandiose theme where you're like, oh my god, this is so fucking iconic or anything like that. But it does work. All right, next up we have Mad Men. One of my favorite series of all time. It's actually currently number 3 on my list of favorite shows. I do know that the House MD song is different for each region. I've only watched the American region, so I'm gonna have to grade it off of the one that I know. But moving back to Mad Men, Mad Men's intro is pretty short too. It's where is it here? 39 seconds. The intro song is A Beautiful Mind by RJD2. Now, this song is an instrumental to a hip hop song that it's a rap hip hop song. They just took the words out of it for this intro. It's definitely iconic with the silhouette and stuff and all the advertisements on the buildings as he's falling through. I think that I think the intro, the imagery is a little bit on the nose. I'm like, okay, I get it. Capitalism and advertising is bad. It's not true happiness. It's definitely iconic, but I think it's a little bit on the nose. I also wonder, Mad Men is such a period piece. I wonder if they should have had a more period focused intro rather than the RJD2 song is a very modern song. I think it might have worked better if they had done some period music from the time. So I as iconic as this is, I'm just gonna give it a B. It's not that great. I know a lot of people really love it. It is very iconic. It's parodied by a lot of shows. But I'm gonna leave Mad Men as a B here. I think it works okay, but I think it could have been a lot better. We're gonna take a quick break because I need to pee real quick. I just drank a lot of coffee. I'll be back in 30 seconds. Give me real quick. Oh, there you go. Oh, sorry. This thing is not Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Coffee goes right through me. I recently recorded a podcast with Evan Wright, the author behind Generation Kill, the book, and he basically created the miniseries as well, as I learned on the podcast. But the podcast was supposed to be an hour long, and he ended up talking for 2 hours, which is great. It's a great podcast. It's coming out next week, so you guys will get to enjoy that. But I had to pee like so badly by the end, and he wanted to talk a little bit after the podcast, just chat. And I was like, hey Evan, like, I'm really sorry, but I have to go, dude. Like, I have to pee so badly right now. But he's a great guy. That podcast is coming out next week sometime. Into the Kinoverse. If you haven't seen it, check it out. The link is in the description of this video. Yeah, it was a really cool podcast. Okay, so we just did Mad Men. Next, we're gonna do Oz. So, Oz was actually the first series, the first HBO drama that I ever watched. Sorry, the video's like lagging for me. Huh. Weird. Anyway, Oz was the first HBO drama that I ever watched. Before Sopranos, before any of those. It's the first one that I actually kind of got me into HBO shows. Not that great of a show overall, not compared to stuff like The Sopranos or The Wire or anything like that, but it's an okay show. The intro, it's a very old-fashioned intro. It reminds me a lot of, if you guys ever watched Homicide, which was Tom Fontana's first show, which he worked on with David Simon. It was based on David Simon's book. But it reminds me a lot of that intro. It's very similarly like paced and stylized. The Oz intro is honestly a little bit long too. It's where is this? Sorry, I'm playing my list here. 1:30, which I'm like, this intro does not need to be 1:30 long. It has like prison tattoo imagery. I don't think it really, it doesn't really reflect the show. I mean, you see a lot of prison stuff in the intro, but like the music, I don't know if it fits that well. Overall, it's a kind of a mediocre intro that's kind of forgettable. I'm gonna give it a C. It's not the worst intro I've ever seen, but it's not great for me personally. True Blood's not on this list, Benjamin. I've never seen True Blood, so I can't judge whether the intro reflects the show or not. Rake Man for 27 SEK, which I don't know what currency SEK is, but thank you for that. Just wanted to say love your channel. Thank you, Rake Man. I appreciate that. Appreciate the support. Honestly, Full House is probably the most recognized intro. Honestly, you're probably right, but we're not doing like comedies or sitcoms. Maybe we'll do sitcom, because I actually watched a lot of sitcoms growing up, but yeah, you're right. Instantly the Full House intro is coming into my mind right now. Rome. Okay, next up we have Rome, which if you guys watched my Deadwood retrospective, you'll know that I mentioned in that video I'm gonna do a Rome retrospective too. I'm rewatching the series right now. I'm on season 2. Rome's intro is, let's see how long it is. I have it up here. 1:28, which is a little bit long. It features imagery of like the city of Rome, all the graffiti coming to life, which I thought was a really cool detail, because it's like it's bringing life to the city of Rome, which is exactly what the show is doing, right? It's bringing life into history here, which I thought was kind of a very cute way to kind of represent that. I like the beat. It's okay. Overall, Rome's intro is all right. I'm gonna give it a B. It does its job. It's not obnoxious. It's a little bit long, but it works okay. It's just, I don't have too much to say on it, honestly. So it works fine. All right, here we are. here is the moment. By the way, if you guys you're waiting for this, we're currently here at The Sopranos. The one I know you guys were wanting to hear from me this entire time. And some of you, when I was talking about like how my opinions are going to piss some of you off, I think some of you noticed. I think some of you commented this, that I was talking about the Sopranos intro. We finally reached the point where we're going to talk about this. The Sopranos intro is 1 minute and 45 seconds, which is really, really long. I'm going to be honest here with you guys. I skip the Sopranos intro when I'm watching each episode. It just takes too fucking long. If you are watching the entire 86 episodes of the series and you watch the intro every single time, that is 2.5 hours total. So if you're doing a full rewatch of the series, you just lost 2.5 hours. Yeah, go ahead, call me a zoomer who can't sit through the 2-minute fucking intro. It's just too long, guys. It's a great intro, don't get me wrong. I like that it's like Tony coming from New York back to New Jersey. It's him returning home after a night of basically doing crimes and doing whatever he does. The music's great. I think and I like that it highlights all the iconic locations of Jersey and the suburbs. Like, it really captures the themes of suburbia, but it's just too long for me, guys. Like, they needed to cut even 15. If they cut this down to like 1:30, I think it would be fine, but it's just too long. I'm still gonna give it an A, but it can't be an S tier for me, guys. It just can't. Like, I can't put it up there being that long. And I know what you're gonna say. Game of Thrones intro was very long too, and I get that. But you have to admit that the Game of Thrones intro is more culturally iconic than the Sopranos intro. The Sopranos intro is very culturally iconic too, and it's been parodied by other shows. But everyone and their mothers, even if they haven't seen the show, has heard the Game of Thrones intro. The same thing is not necessarily true of the Sopranos. So it's gonna go A for me here. I know that's pissing a lot of you off to see the Game of Thrones intro higher than it, but for me, it just, man, yeah, you need to be a little shorter. Yeah, but you can't sing along. Yeah, but you can hum along. And you know that you can hum along to the Game of Thrones intro right now. Dun, 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 dun. Like, instantaneously it comes to mind. And sure, The Sopranos does too for the Sopranos fans. But if you started singing the Sopranos intro to a person who hasn't seen the show, they're not going to know what the fuck you're talking about. So yeah, I know that pisses a lot of people off to hear that. I still think it's a great intro, but it's just not perfection to me, which for some of you guys it is. I get that. All right, next up we have Succession. Now, I know this is a relatively newer show. A lot of people haven't seen Succession. It's a great show. You should check it out. It's 1:33, which I think is a little bit long. It's got some kind of cool imagery of, like, I like the family video aspect of it, where you see the kids kind of growing up. It also has a lot of generic imagery too, of stuff like the city and stuff like newspaper imagery and stuff like that, which I wish they would have kept it all home video. I get what it's trying to do. It's trying to show you how messed up this family is and how money and greed have corrupted them. The intro has this kind of cool thing that it does where it cuts in at very random times. It's not always at the beginning of an episode. It's not always after a teaser. It just kind of changes depending on the episode, so you kind of never know when to expect it. Overall though, I think it could have been a lot better. I think it works fine. I think if they had done more of like the home video aspect, I think it would have worked a little bit better, because there is a lot of generic New York City imagery in here. So I'm gonna give it a B. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it here as a B tier. It works fine, but it's just not. It could have been better in my opinion. Like the beginning part, like that beginning sting of the intro is very cool and I like it. But as it drags on for a minute 33 seconds, I'm like, but towards the middle of the intro, I'm like, skip. I don't want to watch the rest of this. It's like only the beginning part is like super like, ooh, this is epic. So, um, yeah, we're gonna give this a B. Are you guys still with me? The video playback is lagging for me. I just want to check in here that everyone's still that we're all still live. Y'all still feeling good, or did I piss piss everyone off? Okay, it's still there. Okay, cool. All right, so now we're gonna move on to True Detective. We have all 4 seasons, including Night Country, on here, and I know you guys don't like Night Country. I don't either, but True Detective season 1. And by the way, I just noticed this: all the True Detective intros are around the same length, except for season 4. But we'll talk about season 4 when we get there. But I thought it was cool that they didn't change the length. It's always around a minute 30. Now True Detective season 1 is like one of the most like popular like seasons of television of all time. Like I know probably everyone in this stream loves True Detective season 1. I actually have a little bit more criticisms of True Detective season 1 than I think other people do. I still love it. It's still a great season of television. But I think I think it's like Better Call Saul, where I rank it a little bit lower than I think some other people might. And that's kind of going to reflect here on where I put this. I'm going to put it as a B tier. I don't actually think the music works as well as it could have. I'm gonna state my reasons when we get to True Detective season 3, which we'll get there in a bit. But I think the music is a little bit too upbeat. I don't think it accurately, like season 1 is really, really dark. And I think the song they have is a little bit too upbeat. It's not a bad song. It works fine, but it just doesn't work as perfectly as I think it could have. And I know, again, some of you guys are like, fucking heresy here. But for me, it could have been better. I also don't love the stylized theme that they have there. It's not really True Detective's fault, but it like True Detective's intro has become a very generic style for a lot of shows moving forward, and I don't love the super stylized intro that it goes for. It's not True Detective's fault, which is why I'm not ranking it lower, but it I think it could be a little bit better, which we'll talk about here with some of these other True Detectives. Now, I will admit I'm breaking my own rule here because I have not watched True Detective season 2. I've watched Mac's video, Macabre Storytelling, my podcast partner. He did a retrospective on season 2, and I haven't. I watched his video and he says it sucks, so I'm not gonna actually watch it. But since I'm doing season 3 and 4 here, which I have seen, I was just like, let's just throw 2 in here too. I watched the intro on YouTube. It's very different. It's very colorful compared to the black and white season, or the very grayish season 1 intro. The song is very weird and different, which I think if I was watching True Detective season 2 for the first time, immediately after rewatching season 1, I would be like, oh wow, this is so different. I think it would have impressed me if I watched it originally. Like I can imagine myself being impressed by how different it is. I think it works okay. I'm gonna give it a C here. I give it credit for being very different. But yeah, I mean, just also reflecting how bad season 2 seems to be. I don't know if that's fair for me to say since I haven't watched it, but watching Mac's like explanation and retrospective of why season 2 is bad, I'm just gonna give it a C here. And the reason I probably am going to do that too is because True Detective season 3, intro is an A for me. I really, this is what I think season one's intro should have been. I think the music is really like low key, very like like cool, like dark cool intro song. I think it really reflects season three's storytelling a lot better than the song on season one does. And I think the intro works just a little bit better. The reason why I gave True Detective season one a B is because I wanted to put season three's intro above it. Now, obviously, it's kind of riding on season one's coattails a little bit. I'll give it that, but the intro for season three just works a little bit better for me than season one does. So I hope that kind of gives you an explanation of why I put season one where I did. Now, now we're getting to season four, True Detective Night Country. It's a D. Night Country sucks dick. Like, the show sucks. And I gave it a fair chance. I went into the show not hating it already because it's women. Like, you guys know that if you watched my podcast, No One's a Critic, with Macabre Storytelling. We talked about it, and I gave it a fair chance. I hate this season, and I hate this intro. I will give credit to the intro. It's actually shorter than the rest of them. It's only 1 minute and 11 seconds, which I give it points for being shorter. However, I hate Billie Eilish. I hate Billie Eilish's music. No hate if anyone else likes her. I know she's a very popular artist. I'm not a hater. I can't stand her music personally. It's too, like, she sings in such like a unenthusiastic voice. I don't love her music, so setting it to Billie Eilish music doesn't work for me. But also too, the imagery and the pacing of the intro. Like, if you watch True Detective's intro for season 1, 2, and 3, the way it transitions from image to image is relatively slow. Like, it takes its time. It's not a very frenetic editing. Night Country's editing for the intro is very frenetic. It moves like quickly, like it's like you're jumping back and forth, and I don't like it. It doesn't really tie into the rest of them. I will say though, the editing accurately reflects how kind of crazy and like unpredictable the rest of the Night Country season is. But since I don't like Night Country, I still have to put it down here at D. I don't like the intro. I think it should have been a female singer. I'm not one of these people who are like, oh, why was it a female singer? I think it should have been. I'm really okay with the idea of a female-centric True Detective. I think I like a lot of female-centric media. I think it would work. And I think the song should have been sung by a woman. But like, let's go for something a little bit darker here. Let's go for like, you know, not just Billie Eilish. It's too pop. Like, let's go for like a dark R&B or a dark blues singer. You know, someone like Billy King or someone like that. Or not Billy King, Billie Holiday. Sorry, I was confusing her with like Ella King or something. But you know, let's go for something more like that. Yeah, Billie Holiday, something melancholy. Exactly. So yeah, giving it a D here. Twin Peaks. Someone just commented Ice Spice. Yeah, it should have been Doja Cat doing the intro. No. Okay, so Twin Peaks' intro is I'm trying to find it here. 1 minute 30, which, you know, that's getting into a little bit of a long intro. Now, I will fully admit, I don't love Twin Peaks. Like, as much as some people do, I kind of don't understand Twin Peaks. Like, I get it, but I also kind of don't. It's not one of my favorite shows of all time. I respect it, but I don't love Twin Peaks. Now, that being said, Twin Peaks' intro is an S. It works so perfectly for as little as I understand Twin Peaks. the intro perfectly works for what the show is. It is this very calm, like serenading type song that kind of lures you in, but there's a little bit of a sinister sound. It's a little bit, there's got a little bit of darkness in that song, which works so perfectly. Like the nature imagery and stuff and the music lures you in, but there's a little bit of a darkness hiding in that very calm, nice Pacific Northwest imagery, which perfectly reflects the show. It just works just so, like, it's perfect. Like, it, even if I don't enjoy it as much as other people do, for what it is trying to do, it succeeds just so incredibly. And I know it might piss some people off being like, well, how can you say that when you didn't put The Sopranos in the S? I don't know, dude. Just I'm lured into Twin Peaks when I watch the intro. I am lured into The Sopranos in the same way, but I don't think it works on quite the same level. So yeah, I gotta put Twin Peaks as an S there. So hope that is okay with y'all. Where are we now? The Walking Dead. I don't like The Walking Dead. But it's a show that I've watched and it's very popular, so we should talk about the intro. The Walking Dead's intro is 34 seconds, which is very short. So I'll give it points for that. However, I think the intro is a little bit generic. Like, yes, it has this kind of sinister music to it, which does reflect The Walking Dead. However, the imagery of the intro is very generic. Like if you watch the intro, pretend you're watching the intro of like a serial killer show or a crime drama, and it works kind of the same way. I don't think they hit the zombie imagery enough. Like they should have had, like, I don't know, more like decay imagery or stuff like that. Like, the intro is honestly very generic to me. It could be the intro of almost any like dark, crime drama that exists on television. And I think they have updated it as the show goes on. I haven't watched all of the seasons, so I'm gonna give Walking Dead a C. It's like they could have done a lot more, like, to make this be like, this is the iconic intro of our massively successful zombie show. So yeah, surprising how generic the Walking Dead intro actually is. All right, next up we have Westworld. Westworld is a show that I liked the first season, but I hated it as it went on. It's 1 minute and 48 seconds. Really fucking long. Very stylized, with, you see the robots being built and stuff like that. I really don't like the Westworld intro, because also it has the same problem as True Detective, where it's led to this very, like, generic style of intro that all the shows are copying. Like, I don't have them on the list here, but if you guys watch The Last of Us or even like Haunting of Hill House, the intros are literally copying the exact same imagery of Westworld. And again, maybe you could argue that's not Westworld's fault that it created this very generic style, but I honestly just really don't like it. I don't like how generic and sanitized the kind of intro imagery that this series has led to. So I'm gonna give Westworld a C. I know some people should say maybe should be a little bit higher with the whole piano riff and everything like that, but honestly, I don't like what it's done to the industry, and it's way too fucking long. It does represent the show well, but the show went on way too long now too. So, fair point to that. All right, on to The Wire. And again, I explained why I have all 5 seasons of The Wire. Each season is different. I think each season should get its bite of the apple here, because we got to give The Wire credit for trying to mix things up every single season, but keeping it very thematically relevant. It's the same song every single time, Way Down in the Hole, but each season has different imagery and a different singer. The first season, and they're all about the same length too, I think. About a minute and 35 seconds. Some of them are a little bit longer, but we'll cover those when we get to them. So, season 1 of The Wire is an S for me. Like I know some people are gonna be like, how you didn't put The Sopranos there? How can you put The Wire when it's only a little bit shorter than that? Honestly, man, I just like the song more. The Blind Boys of Alabama's version of Way Down in the Hole is so fucking good. I listened to that song just on my own on Spotify. Like, it's so fucking good. The the lyrics of the song work so perfectly for the show. The imagery, is good. I'm not gonna say it's the best imagery of any show ever, but it works for what the show is. And I never skipped the Wire season 1 intro. It's so, I love the music, so good. So, you know, I know some people might not like that compared to The Sopranos, but yeah, Wire season 1 is an S for me. Season 2 is actually sung by the original singer Tom Waits, I think his name is. Unless I typed that wrong, or is it Watts? No, it's Waits. Okay, it is Tom Waits. Okay. Now season 2 is not as popular as the rest of The Wire. I don't think it's as bad as some people say it is, but I also don't think it's as good as some other people say it is. I know Tom is the original singer, and he's got this very blues, Louis Armstrong style voice that I think a lot of people can respect. Um, I don't love his version. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. But compared to some of these other ones, I'm gonna give it. I know some people are gonna be pissed off. I kind of personally want to give it a C. I'm not. Well, in terms of quality, I'm not saying the quality's bad. Like, I just don't enjoy his version as much. I'm gonna give it a B. You're right. I like it. Like, he is the original singer. I'm gonna give it a B. I'm just saying I don't personally love his version. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying I like the season 1 version a lot more. It's easier to listen to, and I don't get me wrong. I like Louis Armstrong and people who have kind of a rough voice at times, but man, is his version a little rough, which it does reflect the season, but it's just personally not as enjoyable for me. But you're right. I will give it a B. It's not bad. It's not bad. I just like season 1 more. Season 3 is the Neville Brothers, and it's a much more R&B focused version. I know this is gonna piss some people off. I'm gonna put it in A. I like the Neville Brothers version. I think it works. I like an R&B kind of like version of the song. I think it reflects season 3's focus more on the black characters compared to season 2. I like it. This is my personal like preference here. I know some people are like, how dare you rank it above Tom's version, but I like it. I'll listen to this song on Spotify too. It's fun. It's a fun song. Now season 4 is interesting. So season 4 is actually a little bit longer at a minute 38. And the reason for that is because it incorporates some like police sirens and some other like ambient noise. So it's interesting. It was also sung by some local Baltimore teens, again reflecting the focus on children in season 4. I'm gonna give season 4 a B too. I don't listen to this one on its own like I do 1 and 3. I like the idea of it. I like that the kids are saying it. But I think like the hip hop angle worked a little bit better in season 3. Even though season 4 is my favorite season, don't get me wrong, season 4 is my favorite season of the show. But and I like the idea conceptually, but I don't love it in practice as much as I do seasons 1 and 3, if that makes sense. And it's also a little bit longer, so we have to factor that into it too. Then we get to season 5. Season 5 is a C for me. Now I'm going to explain why. Season 5 is also a little bit longer than usual at 1:39. It's actually even longer than season 4's intro. I know 1 second doesn't really matter that much, but I don't like it. It's sung by Steve Earle, who played Waylon on the show. So that's cool that they got a singer from the show to be the singer of the intro. But I don't like it because it sounds too much like Law and Order. Like, the music sounds like Law and Order to me. I always think like the Law and Order intro is playing when it first starts playing. I also don't like season 5 as much. I think season 5 is the weakest season of the show. So, yeah, I don't like the season 5 intro that much. Yeah, the shots are okay. I will give it that, MK. The imagery is fine for season 5, but I don't love the music. And I like some of Steve Earle's music. Like, Steve Earle's got some bangers. He has a song he does in season 2. What's it called? Feel All Right. That's a great one. He also has another one. Or maybe it's not him. I take it back. He sang Feel All Right, which is a great song. That's the season 2 outro song, and it's fantastic. There's another song in season 2 that I really like. But anyway, regardless, I like Steve Earle, don't get me wrong, but I think his version of season 5's intro is a little bit weak. All right, now we have Narcos, the Netflix show. I didn't include Narcos Mexico or anything on there because I don't like Narcos Mexico, and honestly, it's the same exact thing as the regular Narcos. It's 1:29, which is a little bit long, and I know this is gonna piss some people off. It's going into S tier for me. I know that's going to piss some people off because Narcos is not as good a show as The Sopranos. But my, oh my, do I love that fucking song. It's so beautiful, that music that plays in there. The imagery, I think, is pretty good. I like the whole CIA aspect of the imagery where it's like pictures from the Colombia in the 80s with like the CIA writing over it and like blacking stuff out and stuff like that. I think it's cool. It works for the show. But that music is just so beautiful. I never skip it. It's so good. And it is kind of a little bit diegetic storytelling because in the first episode they're listening to the music being played by that band. So yeah, don't get me wrong, I don't love Narcos the show. Like, I mean, I love the first 2 seasons, but I don't like season 3, and I don't like Narcos Mexico. But man, oh man, is this intro just so fucking good. It's just beautiful. And it also has a little bit of a sinister side to it too, which works for the themes of Narco. It's just awesome. I can't get away from it. I think that the Narcos intro is just incredible. All right, these are kind of 2 weaker additions that I added last minute. House of Cards. I like House of Cards to an extent. Obviously, the final season's absolute trash. I think House of Cards is very generic. It's 1:37, which is very long. Like, this intro is way too fucking long. And it's very generic imagery. It's just like they just went out to Washington, D.C. and just filmed a bunch of buildings and stuff. It's not stylized. It does reflect the themes of politics, but like they could do a lot better. This is a C. it's too long and it's just kind of forgettable. It's not great. And then finally, Orange is the New Black. I honestly don't know why I threw this on here. I was just going through Netflix before the stream, and I was like, are there any shows that I watched that I haven't put on this list? And I was like, oh yeah, I watched this show. I don't like Orange is the New Black. I mean, it's okay. It was the first few seasons were okay, but it's kind of a trashy show, and the intro is way too fucking long. It's a minute and 11, which I know is shorter than some of these other ones, but it feels very long. And I am not the only one who feels that way, by the way. Like, if you go onto the onto the YouTube comments of the intro, people are like, "Oh, I thought the song was longer than it was," and that's because it drags on. It's a D. It's a fucking D. Like it's too fucking long. It's just not great. Where is West Wing or X Files? I've not seen West Wing or X Files, so I can't put it on this list here. I'm not doing any comedies, so no. Or I mean, not. Some of these shows have comedic aspects, but I'm not doing like Always Sunny. No sitcoms. We'll do that another time. I just it would be too many shows like to put on this one single ranking. I've not seen the Newsroom, so I can't put it on there. Requiem, I explained why The Sopranos is where it is when I put it on here. And I know it pissed some people off, but I stand by these rankings. I think these are where it's supposed to be. I love Silicon Valley, don't get me wrong, but that's a comedy and it's a sitcom. So we would put it when we do the sitcom rankings, we'll do that. Please upload the stream after. This stream will remain public after I'm done with this one. It's some of the ones I unlist after it's done, but yeah, this one will be public. When is the Mad Men retrospective coming? It's gonna be a while, dude. I've not been working on it. I just got way too busy to work on a huge retrospective, so instead I've been working on some smaller ones. So I did the Deadwood retrospective. I'm working on a Rome retrospective right now. But yeah, the Mad Men one is going to be delayed a while. I don't know when it's coming out, dude. Sorry. But we have some cool stuff coming out next week here. So tomorrow, I'm going to be releasing a compilation of the Soprano logs. So if you guys were a fan of my Soprano log series, I've combined all the episodes into long videos that cover each season. So all the Soprano log season 1 episodes will be coming out in a video tomorrow. I'm going to be releasing all of those seasons eventually. So if you are nostalgic for my Soprano log series, just know that it's coming out again. I also have a podcast coming out next week that I interviewed Evan Wright, the creator of Generation Kill. So if you guys want to hear, if you guys liked my Generation Kill retrospective that I did, and you want to hear from the creator, he actually watched my video and he liked it a lot. So we have a discussion about his experiences in Iraq, and that one will be coming out sometime next week. What else besides that? That's it for now. That's all the content I have coming out right now. But I hope you guys are excited for that. A lot of people like the Deadwood retrospective. I'm glad. Yeah, one of my favorite shows. I love Deadwood. And I'm really glad I got to do a video on it. And like I said, the next one will be Rome after that. And then after that, I don't know what the next one will be, but we'll see. Maybe Twin Peaks. Maybe I'll give Twin Peaks another shot. What's the most underrated intro here, you feel? Probably Twin Peaks. I think Twin Peaks is underrated. Does Chernobyl not count? I didn't include miniseries because I'm just like, I don't know what the point of an intro song is for a miniseries. Like, there's only 7 episodes. I don't even remember if Chernobyl has an intro, honestly. Does it? Like, I can't remember. Generation Kill doesn't have a intro theme. It has a title sequence, but it's just like, you know, Generation Kill, and it's over in like 5 seconds. So, yeah, I didn't include any miniseries on here. Why'd you rank Boardwalk Empire so low? Because it's not good. It's not a good intro, and it's kind of not a great show, honestly. I'd never seen Power, so I can't rank it. Am I the only one who thought that the whole Dawn falling off the building thing would be the end of the show? No, you're not the only one. And that's why I say the intro of Mad Men's a little too on the nose, which is why I put it in B tier. Even though the show is great, I think the intro is weaker than it could be. I think they could have made a stronger intro for Mad Men than they actually ended up doing. I would love to see a Walking Dead video. I don't count on it. I don't like The Walking Dead. I included it on here just because I'm like, well, we should put some more shows on here. But yeah, I'm not a huge fan of The Walking Dead. I like the first couple of seasons. It's all right television, but I tuned out after like season 4. What? The Mad Men ending kind of sucked though? No, dude. I think Mad Men's finale is the strongest finale of any show I've ever seen. I think the Mad Men finale beats the Sopranos finale and the Wire finale. The Sopranos finale is great and the Wire finale is great too, don't get me wrong, but Mad Men has the strongest ending of any show I've ever seen. It is really, really good. You really liked Rick. I mean, I like Rick too on The Walking Dead, but I mean, do you still watch it now that he's not even there anymore? Like all the characters are gone. Is there even kind of a purpose to continue to watch it? I mean, maybe you enjoy it. I'm not shitting on people who enjoy stuff that I don't like. Again, Boardwalk Empire is very low for me. I don't particularly love Boardwalk Empire. There's some good parts to it, but when compared to some of these other shows, it's just not great for me. Have you done a first episode taking stream? Ooh, that would be an interesting. Comparing the pilot episodes of all these shows. Ooh, maybe that's a good idea. Maybe I will do that because pilot episodes are so interesting because they have to kind of stand on their own. Mad Men finale contradicts the whole show. Oh, I don't think so, dude. State your reason for why you think it does. I'm interested to hear that. Greetings from Ireland. Hey, David Smith. Glad to see you here. I recognize you. I've been trying to buy a hoodie. Can you direct me, please? Dude, David, I told you multiple times. It's in the link of this video. Go to I'm going to pull it up right now. Hang on. Let me mute this just to It's here. So if you click on the description of this video, if you click on the description of this video, you'll see where it says Teespring. In fact, maybe I'll even pull it up right here for you guys to see. You guys see this now? It's in the description of all of my videos, and you guys can see all the different shirts and hoodies and stuff that I have here. It's pretty basic shit. I recently added a No One's a Critic shirt and hoodie here for anyone who wants one. This is the podcast that I co-host with the Cobb Storytelling. I guess I should probably add into the Kinoverse podcast merch on here too, which maybe I'll do that after this is done. But yeah, this is my shop. So David, it's in literally just click on the description of this video, and where it says Teespring, that link will take you to my store. So you can buy a hoodie. I have them on here. There's shirts. There's whatever you guys want. I didn't care for the Sopranos pilot, TBH. I honestly think the Sopranos pilot is one of the weaker pilots I've seen. No, I shouldn't say that. Not one of the weaker pilots I've seen. Compared to a lot of these other critically acclaimed shows, I think The Sopranos pilot's on the weaker side. Mad Men and Dexter would have S tier pilot episodes, maybe. Don goes back to himself and everyone gets a fairy tale ending. Well, I guess Peggy gets a happy ending with Stan. Um, Pete gets back with his wife, which I will admit, Pete getting back with Trudy was kind of shitty. I guess everyone does get kind of a happy ending. Roger gets with Megan's mom. I mean, Betty's dying. I don't know if that's a happy ending, but no, I think the ending with Dawn is so strong, and him like being there and like realizing how emotionally damaged he is. I thought that was very powerful when he cries with Leonard. I thought that was great. Have you read the Walking Dead comics? I have not. Yeah, I'm leaving LM on season 4 of Mad Men. No worries. Sorry about that. Although, come on, man. I mean, the show's like 10, 15 years old at this point. It's hard not to talk about it. But yeah, I totally feel free to pop out. I'm not going to talk anymore about it, but, you know, it is what it is. I mean, most people don't really change. It's like, that's kind of the theme of The Sopranos, too, isn't it? That most people don't change. So I think Dawn not changing by the end is actually very realistic. Any upcoming shows or movies you're looking forward to? I'm looking forward to House of the Dragon season 2. In terms of movies, I'm looking forward to Francis Ford Coppola's Megalopolis movie. That seems like it's gonna be cool. Other than that, I can't think of any new shows that I'm looking forward to. I don't know. Is there anything you guys think I should be looking forward to? Any movies? I've not really been keeping up with any of them. Lord of the Rings is really re-releasing in theaters. I've watched Lord of the Rings way too much. I'm not gonna go watch that again. Yeah, I can't think of any other. I don't watch The Boys, so I can't look forward to that. I'm looking forward to World of Warcraft, the new expansion. I'm actually going to play retail WoW again, by the way. I've been getting back into it, so I'm looking forward to the War Within for World of Warcraft. Maybe I'll stream myself playing that sometimes if you guys want to just chill out with me. Oh, the Fallout show. I've not watched that. I just been too busy to watch it. I'm gonna watch it. I've heard people think it's pretty good overall. I know there's some people who hate it, but I need to watch that show eventually. Maybe when I'm done with Rome. Maybe that'll be the next one after I'm done with Rome. Yeah, The War Within. Hey, David Cameron. Good to see you here. Avatar: The Last Airbender. Yeah, Avatar season 2. I will watch that when it comes out, the live action one. I didn't like season 1, but who knows? Maybe it'll get better. No, I've not seen Lost. I've not seen Mr. Robot. I know there's a lot of shows out there I need to check out, but I still need to check out Fargo. I'm surprised no one brought up Fargo. Every fucking stream I do, someone's like, "Have you seen Fargo yet?" Like, no, I've not. I haven't even seen the movie. I need to watch the movie first. Are you still upset about David Chase saying no to you? He didn't say no to me. His agent said no to me. I don't know if his new show is canceled or not. That's what I'm upset about. I think his new show might not be moving forward. Like the witness protection show he was talking about. I think it might have been canceled because of the studios. They wouldn't let him do what he wanted to do. As a major in psychology, which show do you think is the best at representing characters' minds? Which one's more realistic? Probably either The Sopranos or Mad Men. I think those shows are both really good about getting into the psychology of their main characters. Yeah, I reached out to David Chase's agent to interview him, and he said no. But it's okay. I'll keep following up. Yes, I saw the Sopranos LeBron James video. I'm so happy that that was released. Good on that podcast for finding it. But yeah, if you've never seen my Sopranos Lost Media video, I talked about how LeBron James, they made a video for LeBron James that never saw the air, but it's the last appearance of James Gandolfini as Tony Soprano. Oh, by the way, guys, did you see that Mad Men cameo in the Pop Tarts movie that they got John Hamm and John Slattery to be there to be Don and Roger in Mad Men again? I remember thinking as I watched that little ad, I was like, I'm not glad James Gandolfini's dead. Like, don't get me wrong, I wish he was alive. But I am glad that we don't see Tony, like, we don't see like a 70-year-old Tony putting on the bathrobe again and being like, hey, AJ, it's me, Tony Soprano. Come check out these Pop-Tarts that we're shilling here. It's like I'm glad the Sopranos is left alone. And don't get me wrong, they did advertisements as the characters, right? I showed that clip of Paulie shilling Netflix when it was a DVD service. I showed that clip of what's it called? Phil. I think he was shilling some beer or something. Like, these guys do advertisements. I don't begrudge them for doing advertisements, but I really don't want to see Tony Soprano at 60 years old or whatever bringing him out of retirement to sell popcorners or something like that. Silvio playing WoW, sure, yeah. Same exact thing. What does JFC mean? I see people posting that all the time. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Yeah, dude, I'm such a zoomer. I can't sit through the 2-minute Sopranos intro. It's not like I analyzed every single episode of The Sopranos and made like 100 fucking video essays on the thing. You're right. I can't. I'm too impatient. I don't understand the fucking Sopranos, right? Because I can't sit through the goddamn intro. God fucking damn it. I am a little mad, honestly. I'm not saying the intro's bad. I'm just saying it's a little bit too fucking long. Again, if you're rewatching the entire 86 episodes like I have to do for my Soprano logs or whatever, stuff I'm doing for the series, that's 2.5 hours. I need that time to do other fucking stuff. Oh, but apparently I'm not a real... People say that all the fucking time. Like, no real fan of The Sopranos skips the intro. If you skip the intro, you're not a real fucking fan. Oh, really? I'm not a real fucking fan. Goddamn, I'm one of, like, the main Sopranos YouTubers here on YouTube, and I skip the intro. I'm fucking honest about that. What series cancellation hurt you the most? Mine is Deadwood. Well, Andre, the thing about the Deadwood cancellation, and I talked about that in my retrospective, is one of the things I learned in doing that video was that Deadwood wasn't necessarily canceled. Like, it was to an extent, but also David Milch kind of just quit the show. Like, that was a shock for me to learn that. So that kind of softens the blow a little bit for the Deadwood cancellation. Rome, for me, is the one that really hurts because I would have loved 5 or 6 seasons of Rome. Even though I don't think Rome is as good of a show as something like Deadwood, I would have really loved to see them do cover the whole fall of the Republic with the proper pacing. Um, you never pondered how the two most cringiest moments in TV history are both singing "Happy Birthday." I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I don't find the "Happy Birthday, Mr. President" scenes that cringy. There are a lot more cringy moments in those shows for me than the "Happy Birthday." I think they're not that bad. No, 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 no. I've done my research on this about the intro. What happened for Deadwood was they were only going to give him one more season, so he was going to wrap it up in season 4. But they only wanted to give him 6 episodes. Now they were willing to negotiate, but David Milch was basically like, "No, unless you give me, unless you give me the full thing, I'm not doing it." Which, I mean, I get it from his perspective, but like he could have wrapped it up in those 6 or 8 episodes. Would it have been great? No. But would it have been better than the Deadwood movie, which we got later on? Yes. So I do blame David Milch partially for how Deadwood ended. I've not seen The Shield. Kino is secretly a Skylar simp and a Gilf lover. I've gone back. I've gone actually the opposite way on Skylar. I used to be a Skylar defender, like most like sane people are, but the Skylar defenders have gotten so fucking obnoxious lately that I've honestly gone the opposite way. I'm actually hating Skylar again. I don't think she's as bad as Walt, but there are so many fucking Skylar defenders out there being like, if you hate Skylar White in any fucking way, you don't understand Breaking Bad. And I'm like, no, I understand Breaking Bad. I understand toxic masculinity. I understand that. Skylar still did some bad stuff. And I don't know. A lot of the media literacy people are so fucking annoying. Like they've really been getting on my nerves lately. I could have put Vikings on here. I forgot about it, honestly. I don't remember the Vikings intro, so they could have gotten a better actress for Skylar. I disagree on that. I think Anna Gunn is a great actress. I don't. If you don't like Skylar, don't talk shit on Anna Gunn. She's fantastic. She was great in Deadwood too. She is a great actress. Don't besmirch the actress. Okay. Um, do you think if Deadwood came out a bit later during 2008, when there were a bunch of neo westerns, that the show would have been more recognized? No, because Deadwood's a little bit too smart. Like compared to like other neo westerns out there, it doesn't scratch the same itch. So I think Deadwood was always kind of destined for where it was. Yeah, Deadwood's dialogue is the best of any show. Sopranos has the best characters. The Wire has the best themes. Um, Deadwood has the best dialogue of any television show ever. It would have been more recognized if it wasn't surrounding The Sopranos and The Wire. True, but I think it carved out enough of a niche where I just think it was canceled too. I think like the show ended too early. Like I think if they had gotten that fourth season and actually wrapped up the storyline, I think it would be more recognized. Um, why does Breaking Bad have the best? These are not in order. So like I'm not putting the like just because Breaking Bad comes before Sopranos on here, they're all the same to me. I'm not ranking them one over the other. It's just whatever category they're in. Um, why is Rome B tier? Because it's not. I mean, it's an okay intro. I mean, it's not. It's not the best intro of all time, dude. It's not. It's not the Game of Thrones intro. Like, it's just Rome's intro is a B tier. It's just what it is. What it is. House of the Dragon is better than Game of Thrones. Well, I mean, there's only one season, so you can't say that yet. The show's not done. What if they shit the bed next season? If you want to compare season 1 of House of the Dragon to season 1 of Game of Thrones, I don't. I still probably would give it to Game of Thrones season 1, but I could see the argument that House of the Dragon season 1's better. Season 2, yeah, coming out. I actually like House of Dragon season 1 a lot. Don't get me wrong. But we can't know whether it's better than Game of Thrones until it's done. How is SpongeBob and Family Guy not on this? No, we'll do cartoons another time. We'll do sitcoms another time. We'll do probably not anime because I haven't watched most anime, but I would do cartoons. I watch a lot of cartoons. Do you think that Showtime is underrated versus HBO? No. What good shows are there on Showtime? Weeds? Like Weeds compared to Breaking Bad? Um I haven't watched a lot of Showtime shows, honestly. I know there are some shows that are popular on Showtime, but I don't honestly. I've not seen any of them besides. I watched a little bit of Weeds, but I honestly couldn't tell you what other shows are on Showtime. L Take True Detective season 1 is S tier. No, no, not really. It's okay. I think True Detective season 3's intro is better than season 1. I think the song in season 1's intro doesn't work as well as it could. What does S mean? It means the top tier. I don't know what S literally means, but S is above A. It's like perfection. Um, oh, Dexter was on Showtime. True, I forgot about that. I thought it was like a Fox show for a little bit. You're right. Dexter is a Showtime show, and Dexter's not a great show either. Honestly, I mean it's enjoyable. I said this before. Dexter for me is like McDonald's. Like it's not good, but you know sometimes you just crave it, right? It's there. It's like it's satisfying to an extent. But no, Dexter is not a critically acclaimed like fucking drama. Why is The Sopranos second tier? I thought it was your favorite. Sopranos is my favorite show of all time, but like I'm grading these on their own, and I don't think The Sopranos intro is S tier. It's too long. This is the thing. This is the thing I wish more people could do. I wish more people could be critical about stuff they enjoy. Yes, Sopranos is my favorite show of all time, guys, obviously. Like you've seen my channel. I love The Sopranos. I love talking about The Sopranos. That doesn't mean I have to fanboy every single aspect of the show. There is stuff about The Sopranos I don't like. I think the editing of some of the episodes of The Sopranos is a little bit weak. I think there's a lot of shows that have come since then that have stronger editing. That doesn't mean I hate The Sopranos, but I can criticize the aspects of it that I think are not perfect. I don't love Twin Peaks. I think it's okay show, but I can recognize that, man, their intro is really, really solid for what it's trying to accomplish. Do you think Matt Weiner will ever get a new show? He got a new show, the Romanovs. Will he get another long show? I don't know. Maybe. It depends if he even wants one. David Chase never did until his new show he's working on now, but that might have been canceled. Kino, I will say your Breaking Bad logs are the vids that got us to know your personality. The Soprano logs was good, but you were mostly loving the show. Breaking Bad logs had you criticize some parts. True. I got better doing the logs as I did them, and I let my personality. Because remember, the Soprano logs came out. I had like 2 videos that had done well, like my Dicky video and my college video. But the Soprano logs were brand new for me. I'd never like done like unscripted kind of talking about shows before that, so I learned a lot doing those. I admit my Soprano logs are not good. Some of the early ones, like the season 1 compilation that I'm releasing, I'm doing it because people really like the Soprano logs and I want to re-release them to you guys. But man, I was like, some of these are fucking weak, dude. Like, I sucked doing this originally. Better Call Saul intro really S tier. It feels weaker than the other S's. No, I think it's very short, which I appreciate. I think it's very thematic, and I like how they integrate the VHS aspect of it. The whole VHS aesthetic is not just like a cool aesthetic for the intro. It's diegetic storytelling. It's the fact that Saul is watching his old commercials on repeat over and over again, which is why it has a VHS effect. I think it's a really cool idea, and I really like Better Call Saul's intro. I think it works perfectly. A bit off topic, what's your top 3 episodes of what? The Sopranos? From Where to Eternity, Whitecaps, Made in America. I like those. Those are the 3 that popped to my head. Are you going to watch and review The Deuce? Maybe one day. Maybe I'll get to The Deuce. It's not high on my list. I've already covered a lot of David Simon, but possibly yes. Would you ever do a tier list of movies? I got to be honest, I'm not the biggest like movie guy. Like you guys would be surprised about movies that I've not seen. There's a lot of like Ridley Scott, right? I don't know if I've ever watched Alien. I might have watched it once when I was younger. I've not seen Alien or Aliens. Or Alien 3. So like again, you would be surprised at some of the stuff I've not seen. I'm much more of a television guy. And even still, there's a lot of stuff that I've not seen that you guys would be like, how have you never seen Lost? I've never seen Lost. You know, how have you never seen, The Shield? I've never seen The Shield. Like, the stuff that I watch, I rewatch over and over and over again, which is why I have such a deep understanding of some of this stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's just a lot of movies. I'm someone who I don't want to have like a really shallow understanding of a lot of stuff. I want to like really understand the stuff that I do watch. So I watch it over and over again. I'm not, Alondra, I'm not criticizing Ridley Scott. I'm not criticizing the Aliens franchise. I'm not criticizing any of that stuff. I just haven't seen it. There's only so much time in a day I have to watch stuff. Anyone ever seen Chase loosen up? Yeah, he laughed on the Talking Sopranos podcast. I really like the Mad Men episode discussion on your second channel. Will you ever do more of those? Yes, I will. I will be doing when House of the Dragon season 2 premieres. I will be recording my reactions to those on Kino Studios, and I will be doing more of those for like the Fallout show too. So more of those will be coming. I promise. My favorite Breaking Bad log moment was anime fucking sucks. Yeah, true that. I got a lot of comments about that one. By the way, whenever I do my anime retrospective, the intro is going to be that clip of me saying anime fucking sucks. Like previously on Pure Kino. Like I'm going to reference that. The Deuce is a series about porn created by David Simon. It actually stars Michael Gandolfini, I think. So, yeah, we'll review The Deuce one day. Godfather 1 and 2 I just watched, and I've already rewatched both. That's fantastic, Eric. You're going to get a lot more on your second viewing than you are from the first one. How many times have you rewatched The Wire? 3 times. Or 3 or 4, depending on how you count it. I watched it straight through 3 times, and I jumped around from episode to episode 1 time. So, 3 or 4, depending on how you count it. Which do you prefer, Better Call Saul or Breaking Bad? Breaking Bad. I think Breaking Bad is the better show than Better Call Saul. I know some people don't agree with me, but I think Breaking Bad is more well-paced than Better Call Saul. I just finished Sopranos today, and I have to say the character development of Tony is the best of all time, and it's not a recency bias. I've seen Walter White. Great respect for you doing Soprano logs. Thank you, Atif. I'm glad you enjoyed them. I agree with you. Tony Soprano is probably the best written character of all time. Would you watch Carter Chong team up with the cool Asian elevator hitman in a spinoff? Dude, that's the Sopranos spinoff I've been writing. The Asian Sopranos. I thought the Fallout show was good. There was no forced political view. I will admit, it does feel like television or stuff has gotten a little bit less political. I know some people are like, are you fucking crazy? Look at all these, like, I don't consider stuff like putting a black character or a gay character inherently political. I know a lot of people are like DEI and other bullshit like that. I don't agree with that. I admit though that in recent years there have been a lot of like shows that like you can tell the writer's political views instantly and it's very on the nose, and I feel like they've been letting loose on that. Maybe it's just my own, bias of what I've seen. I've not watched everything, but it feels like they've not been hammering in politics as much very recently. There's always going to be politics in any media, don't get me wrong, but like the True Detective season 4, for example, everyone's like, "Oh, it's woke because of women." Not really. I didn't feel like a super political angle from that. I mean, maybe a little bit here and there, but it didn't like I could see it being a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. I'm stuck in a bit of a loop watching Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul, and Sopranos over and over again. I need something new. Check out The Wire or Deadwood. Those are both great shows. You probably enjoy them. What's your feeling about Yellowstone? I've never watched Yellowstone. I was considering it, but when I watched Tulsa King, which is made by the same guy, Taylor Sheridan, um, I didn't like Tulsa King, so I don't think I'm gonna like Yellowstone. I know there's a lot of people who are like, it's like The Sopranos in in Wyoming or whatever. I kind of don't think that's the case. So maybe one day I'll check it out, but we'll have to see. You want to see the doggy? He's so hyper. Ah. Ugh. This is my doggy, Blossom. She just got a haircut recently, so it kind of looks a little like a rat. Normally cuter than this. She got a lot of fur, but now she's just little rat, little pocket rat. Don't sit on the dog. The thing I love the most about having a dog is that I get so many comments about don't sit on her, don't eat her. She's Cosette. Yes, yes, I know. I know. You guys are so fucking funny. Yeah. Yeah, I see you guys talking about casting, and one, I agree with Yggdrasil. It's like it's not always about merit; it's about who you know too. But also, like, how do you know, Eric, that that person was not the best? Like, were you there in the casting room and you were like, um, you saw the other people and you know it wasn't the best person? Like, no, like you don't you don't know who else was up for the role. Um, so I don't think that casting like people, like casting like black people or gay people or whatever, I don't think that's necessarily gonna hurt the show. Um, I do think if you're like really hammering home your politics in the story itself, like it's a story about like how capitalism is bad or whatever, like that can be really annoying. But honestly, I don't really care who they cast in the role as long as they do a good job. Well, when the acting isn't believable, but yeah, but or, there's a lot of shows that have like horrible casting that are not good. Um, I'll give you a great example, by the way. How about Deadwood? They cast Kristen Bell in this role as like this girl who she's like a thief and she comes into Deadwood to rob Cy Tolliver. I think Kristen Bell's terrible in that episode. I don't think she's good at all. But like if you like no one like no like obviously that's an older show, it's not really relevant to the discussion now, but like you a lot of people wouldn't hone in on her and be like, "Oh, she was cast for DE and I," right? It's like people only bring that up when it's like it's black people or gay people or whatever like being cast in certain roles. That's the only time that people are like focusing on whether this was a good casting or not. In terms of that discussion. So and I'm not saying you're wrong. Like obviously, yes, Hollywood is trying to push more like minority casting and stuff like that. Stop scratching. But I think it's a little disingenuous the way people sometimes talk about that. They're like the DE and I discussion only ever comes up with like black characters or gay characters or whatever. No one ever looks at a white person who's like they're not doing their role well and is like questioning why they were cast, you know? And I'm not saying that Hollywood's not pushing like diversity and stuff like that. They absolutely are. but it's not necessarily bad. It can be bad depending on the writing and stuff like that. I'm much more focused on the story that's being told in the themes. Like, I think if you are pushing like a political message in your storytelling, it's super annoying. Even if I agree with the politics, I don't want to hear the writer's politics in their story, even if I agree with it. But I don't really care who they cast. If they cast a black character or a white character or an Asian, I'm not. I'm also not super like in favor. I don't need to see more Asians in media. I'm not. I don't really. It's irrelevant to me. I just care whether the writing's good or not. I know sometimes people get pissed off when I bring up the culture war or whatever, but I do think about these things. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of shows out there that are still pushing a very political message, and it annoys me. Um, if you're writing a show about how like all white people are evil or something like that, then yeah, that's super woke and annoying, and I wouldn't want to watch that. The Wire is not like that. For as much as people like, I think people misinterpret like what woke is to me at least. Like The Wire is a show full of black characters, right? It's like and it reflects how Baltimore actually is, but it's not really woke. It's not really pushing this idea that like, oh, white people are evil and that's why Baltimore is suffering. It's like, no, it's like there's a lot deeper issues here than just that. And so I think Deadwood storytelling, or not Deadwood, The Wire storytelling is fantastic. Just because it's full of black characters doesn't mean it's bad or it's woke or anything like that. Now there's some other shows that don't have such good storytelling, but um, yeah, I agree. I just think that like it doesn't necessarily matter who we cast. I'm not even typically that offended when I see stuff like wrong historical races and stuff like that. Like a lot of people get mad about like if they cast like a Viking show and they cast like a black character when there's Viking times. It's like, is it accurate? No, but I don't know. Were those people complaining about the Genghis Khan movie that I talked about, where they cast a white guy in the Genghis Khan role? Or The King and I, a very famous film about Thailand, where they cast like a Russian actor in the role of the Thai king. I don't like. Where's your outrage about that? I mean, I recognize it's a long time ago, so it's not relevant as stuff that's coming out nowadays. But I mean, honestly, does it really matter that much? Like, I don't know. There's way more annoying stuff in storytelling for me politically than that. Yeah, like the Valerians and House of the Dragon. It's like, is it accurate to the books that they're black? No, not necessarily. Does it really take anything away from it? No. Are they making a story about how the black Valerians were oppressed by the white Valerians? No. It's just a casting choice, and I don't think it really makes that big of a difference. I'll stop talking about this because I know a lot of people don't don't like it, but um, that's my thoughts on all that stuff. People are reeing at my woke fucking opinions. Yeah, true. If I don't repeat your exact political thoughts, ree. Yeah, I agree. There's a difference between being woke and being left. The Wire is definitely a left show, but I don't think it's woke. This is gonna piss some people off. I think The Sopranos is a left show too. Now people argue about like what, like if it's leftism versus liberalism or whatever, but like it's very clear the writers of The Sopranos are liberals, right? Maybe old school style liberals, but um, uh, the people who wrote The Sopranos don't vote Republican. If that's, you know, some people think that that's the case, but no. Yeah, it's, and again, you don't have to agree. You can like a work and not have to agree with the writer's political point of view, right? Like that's what I think the media literacy people don't understand is like I can understand that they're like, "Oh, you don't understand the writer." Like if you like The Sopranos and you're conservative, you didn't understand The Sopranos. And it's like, no, it's possible to understand the writer's point of view, but you can still have your own opinions and still like it. I don't agree with all of David Simon's political views, but I still like The Wire. Um, do you think the House of the Dragon has the potential to be on the level of Game of Thrones? Yeah. If they keep the quality as good as they've been, yeah, it's definitely way better than season 8. Yeah, I mean that line about how they rub your nose in it, like The Sopranos did that. There's a lot of scenes about Vito being gay, right? Like it's an ironic kind of commentary on that. The Sopranos is liberal, yeah, pretty much. Like I mean, the writers are. And again, I'm sorry I keep bringing like politics into this discussion, but it's there. It's like it's there in the work, and I think to ignore it is not helpful. You know, it's like you don't have to agree, but it's absolutely there. Anyway, we've been going on for about 2 hours now. Hope you guys have enjoyed this. Are there any good right-leaning shows? Maybe that Yellowstone. I don't know, but it seems like Taylor Sheridan. I don't know. Just from the outside, it seems like his work leans more conservative. But it's hard though because Hollywood is inherently liberal. So like, you kind of can't make it in Hollywood without um like it would be hard for a hardcore conservative to like make it in Hollywood to the point where they could make a show like that. I guess there's stuff like the Daily Wire started doing their own movies. Um, but yeah, it's a little bit difficult. Um, and yes, there is a difference between Hollywood liberal and like Twitter liberals. Like politics is this whole fucking spectrum. Um, I got trashed with some friends and watched some of the Daily Wire movies. They're so awful. It's kind of funny. I thought Death on the Prairie was okay. Do I think it's a great movie? No, but I thought it was okay. That's the only one I've watched, honestly. But I thought Death on the Prairie was all right. I came here to see TV intros, but it's a politics talk. Well, you missed the. I mean, I've been streaming for 2 hours, dude. You missed the rankings. They're all here. You can look at them. Uh, I don't know, man. Uh, yeah, The Walking Dead. I hear The Walking Dead intro changes over time. I've not seen all of The Walking Dead, so I can't comment on all of them. But um, I don't know. I hope the discussion wasn't too annoying to people. I feel like we have a very moderate opinion on most stuff here. Just found your critic channel. So much content to catch up on. No one's a critic. Yeah, definitely check it out. If you like the culture war and politics talk, we do tend to talk about that a lot on that podcast. So um, go check that out. We talk about the ongoing culture war on these media stuff. I also have a solo podcast called Into the Kinoverse. It's linked in the description of this video if anyone wants to see that. The Sopranos should be B. They never changed Tony's car to the white one when they lost the original car. That is true. They should have updated the car as he in the intro as he in each season as he got a new car. I agree with that one. That would have been diegetic storytelling. Have you cried about an actor's death after finding out about it? Um, Tony Sirico died the same week my grandfather died, so it was a really tough week, that one. I don't know if I cried. I cried when my grandpa passed. I don't know if I cried at Tony Sirico, but that was a hard week. I was like, it was like a few days after my grandpa died. I was like how much more betrayal can I fucking take? I feel stabbed in the heart. Um, but yeah, that one hit me. Yeah, when we lose some of these people, it's gonna hit me hard. Can you stop saying diegetic storytelling? Am I using it wrong? Isn't that what it is though? When the storytelling is connected to the medium. I know that works for video games. Diegesis is a style of fiction storytelling which presents an interior view of the world in which the narrator presents the actions and sometimes thoughts of the characters to the readers. Um I don't know. I don't the way I learned that word is like in video games. It's like how in Dead Space, if you guys ever played that game, the UI of the game, like the user interface, is in the game itself. Like it's a sci-fi setting, and how when you look at your inventory, like in video games, you can look at your inventory. In Dead Space, when you're doing that, you're looking at like a computer that the character is looking at. So it's like it's tied to the narrative. I don't know if that meaning applies to television and film too, but I use it a lot. So anyway, I gotta go use the bathroom. And I'm gonna end the stream here since we've been streaming over 2 hours. Thank you all for joining me. I hope you guys enjoyed this ranking. We can do more of these. Again, we'll do cartoons, we'll do sitcoms, we'll do other stuff, but more rankings coming soon. And check out my Soprano Log compilation coming out tomorrow. So have a good day, guys, and I'll talk to you later.